Good evening. Tonight we open the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting again using video conferencing. Let me read the statement aloud. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 20, relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency, the July 16th, 2020 public meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. However, to view this meeting in progress, please go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view the meeting. The meeting will be recorded and available to be viewed at a later date at www.lakecam.tv. Tonight we have one hearing and 2 or 3 discussion topics that we'll engage in. So I think we have a quorum. I need to confirm that Joe is with us. He's here. Joe, can you hear me? Joe, you're muted. If you can hear me, you have to unmute in order to join the meeting.
Now, how's that, better?
That's much better. You're coming in loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay.
So tonight we have Jim Govey. I'm Don Foster, the chairman. Dave Curtis is the vice chairman. John Oliveri and Joe Urbanski as members. We will be voting on the Senate hearing. And having said that, before I open the Senate hearing, I do want to ask if anybody is making a recording of this meeting, obviously other than LakeCAM. And apparently nobody is. So it is 7:03. Let's open the Senate hearing. The Lakeville Zoning Board of Appeals, acting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, as amended, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, July 16th, 2020 at 7 p.m. to hear the petition of Donald Senna. A special permit under 6.1.3 and 7.4 is requested to demolish an existing 910 square foot non-conforming dwelling and construct a similar 950 square foot dwelling that would be within the setbacks on a non-conforming lot located at 103 Staple Shore Road as provided by the Lakeville bylaws. The property site is owned by Donald T. and Susan E. Senna. And again, our statement, pursuant to Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, issued on March 12th, 2020, as provided the state of emergency is in effect. This will be a virtual meeting. The agenda found on the town Lakeville website will include instructions on accessing the virtual meeting and documents related to it. And having said that, I usually like to open the hearing for the petitioner to explain what it is he'd like to do. Mr. Senna?
Yes, I'm looking to tear down the house I have here now, expand it a little bit without being any closer to my neighbor or any closer to the road or any closer to the lake. I'm looking to tear this house down and put up a brand new house that will require little to no maintenance and be up to standards, current standards.
Okay. And you have an engineer with you, I think, who is going to help you with this.
Yes.
Mr. Combe, is it?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little more about the project, please.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name's Steve Combe. I'm a professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts, and I'm with Prime Engineering, and that's at 350 Bedford Street in Lakeville. I'm here tonight to describe an exciting reconstruction project at 103 Staple Shore Road. That's map 64, block 3, lot 26. The project proposes, as Mr. Senna just described, to reconstruct an existing dwelling which is non-conforming, therefore requiring a special permit to reconstruct. On Tuesday, this project went before the Conservation Commission, which approved the NOI. And I'm here tonight to speak in behalf of the special permit. Now, Mr. Chairman, would it be okay if I tilt my camera down? Better?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I got a message from the LakeCAM. Would it be all right if I shared my screen with the board to show some exhibits?
Sure. Yes, of course.
Okay, so first off, I just want to help everyone get their bearings on where the project is located. It's situated on the northern shore of the Assawamsett Pond, and it's accessed off of Staples Shore Road off of 105 here. So here's the lot, and here's the home, which is divided by a right-of-way, the Staples Shore Road. Additionally, to help you get your bearings, 495 is to the north here, which is helpful for me. Okay, now I'm moving to the existing conditions and what exists on the lot today. The home is accessed off of Staples Shore Road, as I mentioned previously, and it's in a residential zone. On site today, there's an existing wood frame 2-story home located right here with 3 bedrooms. There's an ancillary deck on the back, a driveway and boat ramp located here, a wood frame garage and driveway located in this location here.
Stephen,
yes, sir.
You're not showing the same thing that you're looking at. We're still looking at the Google map, the satellite view.
Okay.
But another thing is, I don't think we need to go into an awful lot of detail. Let's start with a couple of questions. Does the proposed house intrude into the setbacks any more than the existing house?
Can you see my screen share now?
Yep.
And it's looking at the plans? Yes. So it's within an inch. So I'm going to say no, it doesn't go further. It's right on, you know.
Okay, so it's the same footprint.
It's very, very close to the same footprint, yes.
Slightly larger, 40 square feet more than the original, apparently.
That's correct.
The closest setback is the lower one, which looks like it's a little under 10 feet.
Well,
a little less than 10 feet.
We're using the existing right-of-way which cuts the lot in half, and that we're calling that a front yard setback. So that one would be, the proposed home would be 6 feet off of that front yard setback.
And what's the setback for the existing home?
5.9 feet.
So you've improved the setback.
Yes, we slightly improved the setback. It's very similar, as you can see.
Okay.
So, as I was mentioning,
are you any closer to the water?
No, and then you can see, this is how we do these plans here. You can see the existing home is a little bit darker, and then let me take that back. The proposed home is a little bit darker, and you can see the existing home just behind that. So you can see that we are actually just a tiny bit further away from the water.
Okay, let me look at my paper copies here. Unless I'm misreading your drawings, it looks to me that your proposed dwelling is slightly better on all the setbacks than the existing dwelling.
It's pretty much right on, but yes, that's true. It's slightly better in the front and side yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that right-of-way used, or is that just a paper road?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Sena on that.
Yes, that is used by the Taunton Water Department.
So it's more like an access road. It's not, the neighbors don't use it. It's not a commonly used driveway or path.
No.
Okay. Garage is going to stay. Existing septic system and leaching field will stay.
Yes, sir.
Existing well will stay. I think the only reason that you're here is because for small lots, you need a special permit to raise and raise. There's nothing, from what I can see, there's nothing about this project that makes it any worse or any more non-conforming than the existing dwelling. I'm wondering what my colleagues will say.
I agree, Don.
I'm good with it.
That was Joe. Jim, what's your feeling on this?
It looks like it'd be an improvement in the neighborhood.
Mr. Senna, I do have a question. The pictures that you included in your package, the pictures of your existing home, look like it's a nice little cottage.
It is. It is very nice. I've been working on it for 40 years. The problem is the basic foundation and everything underneath it is over 100 years old. That's why when I was talking to the building inspector about additions or doing new, I thought it was in the best interest to update this whole thing, going by current standards and improving it.
How high is your existing home, existing dwelling?
It's a two-story.
The existing one is.
Excuse me?
The current dwelling, the current house is a two-story.
Yes, but it's not a complete two-story. It's only half.
Story and a half.
Yeah, it's a second story, but it doesn't go all the way out. What I'm looking to do is to go out over a part of the roof that was only one story. And I have one bathroom now. I'm looking to put in 2 bathrooms and a half.
So your proposed house would be a little taller than the existing dwelling.
Yes, I believe so. I am not sure the exact heights, but I would want it to be in line with the current flood plans, and I would want it raised some, yes.
Have any of your neighbors expressed any concern about the taller home interfering with their view of the water?
No.
Good.
No.
Okay.
Don, if I may.
Please.
Mr. Senna, your house is the last one on the on that road, isn't it?
It's next to last.
Next to it. And you've got nobody behind you, so you wouldn't have to worry about anybody's view.
That is correct.
Okay. That is all.
We have, let's see, a couple, if I can find them. We have a couple of things, I believe. We had something from the Conservation Commission dated July 15th. It says the Concom held a hearing on July 14th, 2020 for a notice of intent filed by Donald T. Senna. Proposed project is a reconstruction of an existing dwelling on the shore of Assawamsett. The commission approved the project, closing the hearing, and is issuing an order of conditions. The order specifies that no demolition or construction waste will be allowed to enter the pond. Also, a snow fence will be placed between the work site and the abutter's property. The applicant will notify the commission when work begins and provide details on the foundation design and method of installation. Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Senna?
Not yet. That was just the other day, but I was there. I listened to that meeting, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, it sounds like, according to this, you'd have some things that you would need to do, maybe you and your engineering firm. How would you propose handling that and making sure or assuring us that those things actually are done?
Well, the Conservation Commission said that I should contact them before we do any demolition so they can come down and take a look at it.
Okay. We also have a memo, a July 13th memo from the planning board that says at their Thursday, June 25th meeting, the planning board reviewed the above petition for hearing from the Board of Appeals. The board has no comments regarding this petition. And we have a July 10th from the Board of Health, a July 10th memo from the Board of Health. It says, we received a copy of the petition for hearing for 103 Staples Shore Road. The prime engineering plans dated April 3rd show a proposed dwelling reconstruction to an existing 3-bedroom residential dwelling with an on-site sewage disposal system. Since the on-site sewage disposal system is to remain unchanged and the proposed dwelling remains a 3-bedroom dwelling, and if the number of rooms in the proposed dwelling does not exceed 8, not including bathrooms, hallways, and unheated storage areas, then the existing septic system should be sufficient for the proposed dwelling, providing it passes the required Title V inspection. Therefore, based on the information provided to the BOH, there is no reason for the Board of Health to recommend denial due to public health issues at this time. And that's good. Is there anybody present? We had somebody, I think, here at our meeting who was a neighbor or an abutter. Jennifer, I believe it is.
Yes, I'm a neighbor. We're just here in support. We're just.
Jennifer O'Keefe is speaking to us in support of this project.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments or questions, either from a viewer or from a board member? Well, hearing none, then I'd like to ask for a motion regarding this petition.
Motion to approve special permit as applied for.
Would you recommend any restrictions?
He's making a better mousetrap than he had before, so no restrictions.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
David seconded. John made the motion. David seconded the motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, then I will ask for a roll call vote, and I'll work my way around the pictures on my Zoom screen. Jim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jim votes in favor. John?
Yes, in favor.
John is in favor. Joe?
Yes,
And
I'm
who
in
am I
favor.
missing? And I'm in favor. Who am I missing?
Hey.
One.
Dave Curtis.
David, you're quiet.
I'm in favor.
David's in favor. So the motion carries, Mr. Senate. All in favor and none opposed. Kathy is always so good about explaining the mechanics of how we go from here.
We have 14 days to do the paperwork. Once that is done, you will get a copy in the mail. It goes to the town clerk for 20 days to make sure there's no one that makes an appeal to it. After the appeal period, she can sign it and you can record it at the Registry of Deeds.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your patience. Kathy, by the way, I think I interpret the 14 days to mean 14 working days, not 14 calendar days. I know we always push to make it the 2 Thursdays after our meeting. In other words,
Right.
2 weeks, but I think it really means 14 working days.
Oh.
Anyway. Okay, I think we're all done with the Senate hearing. You folks are welcome to stay or leave as you choose.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have, I think, 3 items, at least 3 or 4 items for discussion. One of them is what I think is a rather peculiar request put forward to us by some people at LeBaron Hills. Is anybody with us from LeBaron? I don't think so. Some residents of LeBaron have asked us to change the comprehensive permit or to modify the permit to eliminate sidewalks on Hybrid Drive, Ironwood Lane, Putter Way, Bunker Lane, and Wedge Drive, and to eliminate the proposed 42-inch high chain link fence behind lots 7 through 17 and 25 through 36. I contacted Bob Mather about this. He had not heard anything about it, and I explained that, to the best of my knowledge, any request to modify a comprehensive permit has to come from the permit holder. We don't have the freedom ourselves, the liberty to simply change a permit. And if you recall, the process we go through is when we're asked to entertain or to consider a a modification, we have to decide whether it's a substantial or an insubstantial change. If it's substantial, we hold a public hearing. If it's insubstantial, if we find that it's an insubstantial change, then it becomes automatic. With that being said, though, we would have to have, I think we'd have to have a request for this from the developer or his representative, not from the residents who live there. I don't know if anybody here, any of you folks have any thoughts on this.
Well, I agree with you, Don. I mean, it sounds like they're looking for a request specifically for maybe a certain section of the project, but that comprehensive permit is for the entire project, which portion of it hasn't even been completed yet. So I think we really need it from the developer.
So we'll put this aside and wait to see what Bob Mather, who I think Bob is, he said he would look into it. So we'll simply sit on our hands and wait for him. Okay, next on our agenda, in your packet, did you folks all get packets? Everybody get a packet, Kathy?
Yep.
I mean, everyone got the same PDF file. I don't think anyone wanted a hard copy. I did prepare a few, but.
Does your PDF include this long thing on the 43D subcommittee?
It does, yes. Yep.
I have no clue what a 43D is. John, you might know.
Expedited permitting for certain parcels of land. We actually, we did this. It's been so long since they first put this into play. It's been a number of years. I was the designated 43D.
Wonderful. Would you like to stay as such?
I was just going to suggest if you want to keep me there, keep me there. We haven't met in years, but at least I know what it is.
Would somebody make a motion to?
I make a motion that we leave John where he is on the 43D committee.
And I'll second that motion.
Joe seconded the motion. Congratulations. Oh, wait a minute. We got to vote. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, no, Don, at this point? Probably not, huh?
You can vote no. But I vote yes. So it's 4 against 1, you lose, or you win.
Thank you for all the confidence, guys.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm going to drink to that.
As you know, this has something to do with that hospital property, so.
Yes, it does.
Good.
Actually, there's a couple of pieces of property at Exton. So.
And we have the minutes from the January meeting. Have folks looked at the minutes from the January meeting?
Don, I did, and I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye. I think we're supposed to do a roll call vote. Jim voted yes. Don votes yes. Dave votes yes. John votes yes. I think Joe spoke up.
Yes.
Joe spoke up. Thank you, Joe. So the minutes have been approved. And Kathy, was there one more thing on your agenda?
There was discuss department distribution of petition applications.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? I know that someone had said they weren't getting site plans, which the zoning board doesn't really do, but
it was the new fire chief, wasn't it?
Maybe start, the applications go like to the Board of Health, the Planning Board, Conservation, and Building Department. I thought maybe we want to ask people if would, like fire and police, maybe departments like that, if they would like to review commercial or business applications. Because I know we had a business application last month and Planning Board had reviewed it and made some comments, you know, that were really relevant. So maybe there would have been a fire department access, you know, whereas there's possibly going to be a lot of development on Main Street. You know, maybe that would be a good idea. Just throwing it out there. What does the board feel?
We've had, let's see, how do I say this the right way? We've had mixed responses from people in years past, from people in authority in years past. Some have said, gee, I really want to be informed of these and be in a position to offer opinions or advice. And others have said, don't bother me with all this paperwork. I've got too much to do. So it's kind of like you can't win whichever way we go. I think the right way might be to ask the head of each either committee or department, including fire and police, conservation, board of health, and so forth, ask them if they want every petition to review or ignore, or if they don't want them, or if they'd prefer us to make a decision and send them only selected petitions for review.
Don, how would we select what petitions? I mean, would we do it after we started the meeting? I would, my personal preference, consistency, and we either do send them or don't. I don't want to get in a position where we have a hearing and some neighbors decide they want to question, is the fire chief in favor of it? Is the police chief in favor of it? Which, now all of a sudden we're sending stuff out after the fact. And I just think if we either do it or we don't do it, I guess is my personal opinion.
Well, my first thought was that we send any petition that deals with business or commercial or industrial issues or properties should go to probably the highway department, the fire department, the police department. We wouldn't send residential petitions to them.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm sure the fire chief doesn't care if you're going to put a shed in the setback.
Right. However, I think we have to make a decision, though, for issues on 40Bs, for example, where seems we often deal with cul-de-sacs. We want to know the turning radius, and we want to make sure that emergency and fire vehicles can get around. That's residential, but it's a special case.
They do get it. 40B is totally different, and those departments get a 40B.
Yeah, I was just going to say the 40Bs automatically have to go to them, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But no, I like your thought, Don. If it's commercial, maybe we just come up with a policy that says if it's any type of business or commercial, it goes to those three departments because they probably are going to want to comment on it, depending on what the occupancy is and size of the building. But you're right, Kathy's right. I don't think either of the chiefs want to get zoning board petitions on somebody putting a deck on or putting a shed in their backyard.
Yes, and when you deal with businesses, you always deal with traffic and parking, and that becomes an issue. Kathy, I'm going to suggest that that I compose a quick note, and that you could send to the fire chief, police chief, the highway engineer, maybe a few others in town, maybe the board of CC the board of selectmen,
Yep.
and say that we propose to send you only these petitions for review and not send you residential. Let me work offline with you on that if that would be okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I think we're done. Does anybody have anything else?
Can we continue to have Zoom meetings? Because we're very efficient this way.
I'm getting to like Zoom meetings. My guess is we can't, but we don't know.
You'd have to come back from San Francisco, right, Don?
Yeah, I clicked a link and I don't know how to turn that off again. I don't like the weather out there. Okay, if we're all done, then I think we are adjourned at 7:30.